Hi everyone, today's card's going to be a fun card. I've taken out some stamps and dies. This is the Stitched Teapot by Lawn Fawn, and it's quite a nice size teapot, and you've got all these other little embellishments that go with it. So I've actually cut my teapot out in the white, so that's the teapot. And then there was the cup to go with it. So there's the cup, and then we've got the saucer. So again, that was by Lawn Fawn. And within this one, we've got all these beautiful, tiny, tiny little florals. So I've cut quite a few of each of the florals, and I've coloured them with Distress Oxides. For the yellow, I used the Squeezed Lemonade, and for the pink, the Saltwater Taffy, and the tiny blue ones, the Broken China. So that was the Distress Oxides that I used to colour those in. We've got the spoon, and I coloured that in the Lost Shadow in the Distress Oxides. So I've already done all those. We've also got these lovely sentiments again by Lawn Fawn, and I'm going to choose a few of these sentiments at the bottom to go on my card. For the leaves, I've chosen the Adornments collection from Floral Finery, and I've cut some plain ones and some with some detail in, and I cut them out in this pretty lime green cardstock. That's quite a thin cardstock. And then I cut myself out some twiddly bits in the white cardstock, and again, they're by Sentiment of Yours. So that's the dies and the stamp set that I'm going to be using. Got myself a piece of white cardstock. This is A4 in width, and I've cut that at 7 inches in depth. And the pattern paper that I'm using, this is all scraps that I've taken from the Ombre Designs pastel, and I think this one came from the range, and there's some lovely pastel colours within there. Trying to get these paper pads all used up. So this is just bits of scrap that was left over from other projects. So I've got the leaves in the lime green and lemon. I've got some stripy in the lime green and a darker green, and the stripes on that one. So that's the papers that I'm going to be using. So the first thing I'm going to do is take in my piece of white cardstock. I'm not going to use my scoring board for this. I'm just going to fold this in half. And from the bottom, I'm going to score this up. I'm going to turn this over. Now I can see that that's not cut straight. So I take in my paper trimmer, and I'm just going to straighten that up. There we go. It was only a tiny bit, but that would annoy me. And then this front piece, I'm going to fold back on itself. I'm going to line that up. From the bottom, I'm going to give that a nice score. So now we've got this shape card. So I've gone ahead and cut my two pieces, my first matte layers. So this one's going to sit on the front, and then this one is going to sit on the inside. So if we get those stuck down, because we're going straight onto the card base, I'm going to be using tear tape. So as always, a nice line of tear tape all around the edges. And a piece down the middle. Give those a really nice burnish. And if we remove those back ends, this is only a small piece, so we can remove all those back ends. Take back in my card. I'm going to open that up. I'm going to get this same amount of border at the top and the bottom. And that's our first piece down. And then with our centerpiece, the stripy piece, I'm going to do exactly the same. And this time we're going to take our back ends halfway. And that just means if we should put this on wrong, put this on skew with, we've got a little bit of wiggle room. And those center ones we're going to remove completely. And then if we bring back in our card, I want to try and line this up the same. Bring that across. Yep, that's perfect. And then we can remove those back ends. Oh dear. Turn this over and give this a really nice rub from the back. And that's our card base done. So we can pop that to one side. Now if I take in my teapot and my cup and saucer, I get myself a piece of copy paper, load up my brush. I'm going to knock off, and I'm just going to go all the way around the edge of my teapot. And I'm going to leave the center white. I am going to go over the top of the lid, but I'm going to leave the little handle white. So that's the teapot done. I'm going to do the same with the cup. So all around the edge of the cup, around the handle. And leave the center white. And then we need to do the same with the saucer. So I'm not colouring it all in completely, I'm leaving some white showing. So that was the tattered rose, and that's our embellishments coloured in. So if I take back in my card, the teapot I want to go at the top on a slant. So I know that I don't want to put foam pads anywhere over this area, so just half. So if I just run some foam pads, actually that can go right to the top. Take that one off, pop that one at the bottom. And I think it's roughly there. And then if I cut these down into some very thin strips, we can go around the handle. So remove all those backings. Our teapot, as I said, is going to go on an angle, and that's going to go just there. Just double check that you can't see any of the foam pads. Now with the cup and saucer, I want this to go at the bottom, just there. So again, I need to put some foam pads on the back of that. And the cup is going to sit just, I'm going to raise that just slightly, and just so that it's just sitting towards the edge of the card. So there's our cup, and now we've got a spoon, and the spoon is going to sit just there. So the spoon is going to go down with glue, and I've already coloured this in the Lost Shadow Distress Oxide to make it look like a piece of cutlery. And there's our spoon. So we're starting to build our scene up. If I take in my rubber mat and all my florals, that's all those. Now the blue ones, the tiny blue ones, I'm just going to leave flat. So just turn all these over. And with a tiny ball tool, I'm just, with the bigger swans, I'm just going to curl those, the ends of those petals, and give that a squash in. So just the petals. So that's all our florals done. Just tip all those out. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to build this up so that it looks like the florals are coming out of the teapot and into the cup. Pop your card down because we want to see where to start our first floral. And we can either go with a tiny pink one first, maybe a blue one. Actually, looking at this, put another blue one there. I don't know if I want the big ones on there actually. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I think I do. Okay, so I'm going to get these tiny ones down first. I'll actually have that so it's going into the cup. Then these yellow ones can go either side, so that's those two. Big yellow one there. and then a big yellow one just there. So when the card is closed, it looks like the florals will go in into the cup from the teapot. Now maybe we should have another blue one there. Yes, I think that would work. Oh, didn't glue that one down very well. So we said there, didn't we? So it's all about just playing and having a look to see where you want to put things. So this one is basically coming out of the teapot. And then the rest of these are all going to go around the base of the teapot. So there's one. I'm going to get these bigger ones down first, and then I'm going to infill with the smaller ones. That one's going to go underneath, and it's going to actually sit on the teapot. That one's going to sit on the teapot. And now I'm going to start filling in with some smaller ones. So we've got a pink one just there. Another pink one there. So I've used 3 yellows at the moment and 3 pinks. And that one's going to go just there. Just making sure that these are all stuck down. And then we've got our tiny blue ones. Put that blue one there. This blue one's going to go on the end. Just there. And then this one, I think we'll have just up there. Right, we've got quite a few florals left over. We could go another yellow one in that gap there. And we could, with these, if we wanted to, turn these into doubles, which I think I might do. That's most probably enough. Just pop those to one side. We might use them in a little while. Right, with the fronds, obviously now we need to poke this in some different areas. So just gonna cut that right down. Put some glue on the back of that one. This one is going to sit just in there. That one a little squash down. So I think that's most probably about it at the moment for the teapot. Now this twiddly bit, I'm going to keep the length it is. Get some glue on the back of there. Give that a tiny bit of shape, and I'm going to poke this one in there as far as I can get that to go. So there's that one. And then I've got another one. We chop that one down. And then this one is going to go underneath this floral. How pretty is this card looking? And we've still got lots of tiny bits left over. Very pretty. Now what we could do now is fill this cup up. There's another pink one. There's a blue one on the end. So we could fill the cup up with three pink ones and a blue one. A couple of blue ones. Then we're going to go with that one there. And then our last. So we have used them all. Don't know how many I cut. That last blue one's going to go just there. I'm going to pop all this to one side. I might mess about with that in a minute. That looks absolutely gorgeous. Now, there's a sentiment here that says, "You're terrific." And the reason I put the florals on first, because I wanted to know whether or not I could actually get that within that space there, and I can. So if I pop that one down and that one down, hopefully we won't mess this up. Right, you're terrific. Let's have a look and see. I'm only going to get one shot at this. So with the VersaFine Onyx Black, and there's no height with any of these florals, so I'm just going to open this out, and I'm going to get that just there. You're terrific. Perfect. And let's see what else we've got on here. So we've had You're Terrific. We've got My Best Tea. So My Best Tea would fit in the teacup. Get that one nicely lined up. Again, pick that one up. See, hopefully this one will go just there. My Best Tea. Give that one a nice clean off. Pop that one straight back. Just take a look at this a minute. So I pulled out the Just Saying Rustic Verses. This is Special Day. Now I think this is going to be too big to go behind there. Because You're Worth It. I love that sentiment. So on the front we could have To Someone Special. down on my glass mat. Pick that one up. So with the same white cardstock, that's going to go on the front, so we can go right to the bottom with that one. I'm going to have Because You're Worth It. And this one's going to go from the top. Because You're Worth It. There we go. So that's our sentiments done. To someone special, I'm just going to cut that across the front like so. And that is roughly the right size. So I'm just going to chop that down. To someone special. But I'd like to take back in my pink brush, and whatever ink is on this brush, we're just going to go around the sentiment. We'll leave the center white. This is going to sit just there. I'm just going to run a nice line of foam tape across the back. Remove that back in. And this one is going to sit just there. So that's our front panel. And then this one is going to go right over this edge so that when this is closed, you can't see it. And I need to cut this down. I think I'm going to cut this down to about, down to 6. There we go. And this one's just going to go down flat. As I say, we're going to take this, see how far over we can go with this one. So roughly on the edge there. And because we've already done one matte layer, we can now glue this one down. So a nice bit of glue all around the edges and in the middle. Get that one. Just there. Double check that when that's closed you can't see the sentiment. Absolutely gorgeous. And the last thing I want to do to this is just add some gems. I've got these really tiny old gems. how gorgeous is that card? Something a little bit different. Really beautiful. And I love the fresh colours, the mint and the lemon. Well, I hope you enjoyed my little video. Something a little bit different today. Oh, I did want to pop another one of those annoying gems just on the lid, handle of the lid of the teapot. There we go. Well, I hope you enjoyed my little video. Thank you for watching. I've loved making this one. Until the next time. Bye for now.